Hey, this is Roxy Rouge, and you're listening to the rights and wrongs of pro wrestling. Hey, Rube!
You know, and we all have our 15 minutes of fame, and I'd like to take a couple of my 15 minutes to talk about the rights and the wrongs in the world of professional wrestling.
And it is for the WWE Championship.
This match is for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship.
The World Heavyweight Championship.
In the match, and new NWA Heavyweight Champion of the world.
We appreciate you guys coming out and taking your time to support women's wrestling in America.
This match is for the AWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship.
All right, folks, today on the podcast we have another unique talent. He's not only going to wrestle for your entertainment, but if you're there, you might be able to catch her and play some of her games on the side. You might even win a prize. I don't know. Of course, you can be able to catch her at your local independent. You should contact your promoters if you want to get her booked in your area. And if we're lucky, we'll be able to get her featured one day here on the Women's Pro Wrestling Network for everyone to see. My guest tonight is the Lady of the Midway, Roxy Rouge.
Hey, how's it going?
It is going well, and I'm trying my best not to fumble over your name. I know that this is a bit of a change. I think you were listed as Roxy Riot previous to this. Is that correct?
That is, but that's my middle name, and now that I have a title, I thought, okay, I can, appreciate the family and put the last name in there.
Okay. So we just got rid of Riot, and well, not got rid of it, but just put it on the back burner.
Yes.
Okay. So the first and most important thing here is what I just said at the intro, is for anyone that is looking to book your unique talents at their show, and we're going to do this again at the end. How can they reach you for your services?
You can contact me directly through my Facebook page, which is Roxy Rouge Wrestle, or you can get my email, which is contactroxyrouge@gmail.com, and that's just the word contact, ROXYROUGE @gmail.
Okay. So there you have it, promoters, if you're looking to bring the Carnival in town. The Carnival in some cases does carry I don't know, maybe it's just the movies and the comic books and cartoons. Sometimes they come off a little bit shady at times. I'm just saying.
That might just be because of the abundance of trees outside around the Carnival.
Very
just
good.
Just a little shady.
Okay, just a little bit. So you're not gonna admit one way or the other that there might be some underdoings that take place at the Carnival at times.
Well, there's a good number of shenanigans, but it's still in good fun.
All in good fun. Well, you know what we have to ask you? What is a rube? I hear that in your...
Rube! Hey, yeah. Rube! Yes.
Yes.
Well, as you know, every niche has its own lingo. Hey, Rube is a call that you will hear any carnie yell out, saying that there is a fight, or, hey, I need help, I'm in a fight. And that's a good signal to get all the other carnies in the area to come and help you out.
Okay. So you don't mean anything ill by it. It's just, just a little signal for assistance.
Exactly. Or just to alert everyone that there is something going on, and I just might want them to watch.
Okay. Fair enough. We'll go with that. So, now we have to go into some of your personal business now, because that's the stuff that listeners like to hear. They like to know what's going on with their favorite wrestlers. Of course, we'll get into your balancing act of running a carnival and wrestling. I don't know if I would consider it on the side or the main thing or whatever the case may be, but how on earth did you get involved in the pro wrestling business?
Oh. Well, it actually through a good friend of mine. You see, I had never seen wrestling before I stepped into training, which I hate to say, but it's the God's honest truth. My friend had come up to me, and I had gone to one of his shows just to support him, and he said, why the expletive aren't you doing this? And I said, you know what? Why the heck aren't I? So I went and I trained one day, and I was like, you know what? I'd like a challenge. This seems like something I could really throw 110% behind, and I absolutely fell in love with it and have not stopped since.
Okay. And what year was this, or how long ago was this? A couple of months?
About
A year,
a
two?
year and a half. It was February 2016 that I started.
And what were you doing preceding pro wrestling?
Well, if you go back a little further, I did competitive gymnastics until I was 15.
Oh.
So, a bit of acrobatics, and for a little while there I did theater, but I can't sing, so musical theater just wasn't an option, so.
But the acrobatics and gymnastics does explain the cartwheel into a bulldog in the corner that you like to utilize from time to time.
My carousel elbow, yes.
Carousel elbow, wonderful. So we got the names down for it and everything.
Of course, just makes it more fun.
Yes, it does. It absolutely. For those listening, what would be considered your home promotion? I mean, I'm sure you travel, but what would be considered your home promotion?
My home promotion would be Real Pro Wrestling in Fort Myers, Florida, because that's currently where I hang my hat.
Okay. Currently, that doesn't sound like you might be somebody on the go.
Well, I've considered moving, but I like Fort Myers, so.
Okay. So it's still up in the air. You might not be bringing a carnie to somebody's town just yet, but so it's still kind of, hanging.
It's always an option. You can never tie down a carnie.
Okay. So we let's get into the carnival. Let's talk about the carnival thing.
Aye.
Okay, and I'm not sure where to begin with that. So we're going to start with one of your intros where I think I saw you walking out on stilts.
Yes.
Okay.
I do stilt walk. They are jumping stilts. There's a spring in the back of them. The fastest I've ever run on them is about 25 miles an hour. Now, when you start learning on them, they tell you you can jump about 10 feet in the air on them. I have not accomplished that feat quite yet because I'm already quite high in the air. So I just do the basics. But the running in them is quite fun, and I do have a stick you'll see me carrying with me, and that's actually for other people's safety, not actually what it might look like, but that's in case, small children, they run into my feet. That way I can catch myself and not topple on them.
Very good. See, you're concerned about the kids. That's good.
Oh, and people have all the time. They're like, "Oh, you bring that to the ring for a certain reason?" I'm like, "Yeah, so I don't fall on you." Not a weapon.
Not yet, anyway.
Well, Aria Blake has used it as a weapon on me, but that's not its primary function. No.
Oh, okay. Well, there are lots of things in pro wrestling that is not necessarily primary function. I mean, chairs aren't designed to hit people in the back.
What, they're not?
No, believe it or not. I know that's hard for a wrestler to hear sometimes, but you know what? You're supposed to sit in those things. Yeah.
To me, I always thought this was lazy boys before.
Yeah, you have to try it. And also, loaded purses. Not supposed to whop people in the head with those. But I digress. We don't want to start giving you new ideas of new weapons to integrate into your show. Why the carnival gimmick? What brought this persona out in you?
Well, I have a very bubbly personality naturally, and what I wanted to do is take one small aspect of myself and dial it up to basically 1,000. I had already, known how to stilt walk, and the acrobatics were already there, and the stilts, personally, they gave me the best seat in the house. I can see everything on them. But the carnival just encompasses everything about myself that I want to bring out, and also it has a bit of historical accuracy. wrestling, as we know it, started in the traveling carnival known as the AT show or the athletic show. And I am a huge history nerd, and that just was icing on the cake for me, what sealed the deal. And that said, all right, I want to be head of a carnival, and let's go.
And thus, the carnival was created.
Yes.
Okay.
All the bells and whistles.
And you have quite a bit of those. You know, I think you've gone full in with the carnival. You've already got the stilts. Is there anything else that you're learning to do? Are you trying to incorporate new people into your carnival?
It depends. What they bring to the table and, how we work together. No one's really, presented themselves as of yet, but I'm sure they will at some point. Carnies, I always need, a bouncer, a fortune teller, a juggler, a barker. So, there's always ones that I could always welcome in. They just have to present themselves.
I see. You haven't...
Personally, my newest challenge is incorporating my contortion, how I can use that as well.
You're a contortionist?
Yes. I learned some in gymnastics, and the rest is more or less self-taught, but there's a lot of things that just aren't safe to bring to the ring, mainly for myself. So it's saying, what can I use, what can't I use, and make sure that I don't break my neck or my back.
Well, no, we don't want you to do that, and I would imagine that would probably be more useful for your opponent than it would be for you to tie you up in knots and then kind of just leave you in the middle of the ring. But,
Oh, exactly. But it is funny to watch people's faces when you go backwards into a backbend and just have your face by your feet. It's just, they just kind of look at you like, that's not possible. I hurt looking at you. And that's just fun.
Well, yeah, I probably would be one of those people. I hurt looking at you, watching you do this. That's just not a safe thing to do, but I guess if you're flexible enough, then hey, go for it. I'm going to assume.
But strangely, you can't look away.
Yes, it's like a car wreck. But I am going to assume that you have not seen the TV show The Librarians. The reference to this will come back later. Good, okay.
Uh-oh.
I'm putting this out here now. Because there's a segment at the end of this that I call, booking your own angle, because I have the theory, it's fantasy booking, I have the theory that every wrestler has their own kind of angle that they're like, if I had the chance to write my own self into whatever angle, this is what I would do. So just hold on to that. Hold on to the TV show The Librarians. Anybody that's watching may have come across this particular episode. They might know where I'm going with that, but I'll come back to it. Okay, so
it's
now, a
complete mystery to me at the moment, so I will be pleasantly surprised.
Or maybe not so pleasantly. I don't know. That depends on how you take your gimmick.
Dun dun.
That's right. Okay, so we have now discovered your. I was going to say we now discovered your fondness for the carnival, which is clear. But did you have this fondness preceding getting into the business, or was it just something that grew as you started doing research and found out where it was from and everything else?
It's definitely something that grew. Like I said, I'm a huge history nerd, so as soon as I found the roots, I went head first into it. But it's not a passion that I had previously. Okay,
so it is the birth of you accepting the challenge to get into wrestling that has brought this persona of the carnival out in you.
110%.
So wrestling has already given back to you somewhat in your life.
Oh, it's given back to me in more ways than I can even say. And I'm only a year and a half into it.
All right. Well, that's a good thing. So all of you wrestling fans out there, all of you wrestlers out there, see, there's good stuff that goes on in the business after all. Don't be so jaded.
Got to be positive. You have to have a positive attitude.
You sound very positive. Wrestling schools, if you're going to talk about your entry into the business, you have to put over where you train. Where did you train?
Oh, absolutely. I was waiting for you to give me a little opportunity to just slip that right on in.
Of course.
I train at the the Crips Wrestling Training Facility in Fort Myers, Florida. If anyone's in the area, it's off exit 139 on I-75. The head trainer there is Spicer D'Amico, and he's been in the business for about 12 years now, I think. Something like that. He started up in New York City, and now he's down here.
Okay. And I'm assuming that he has taught you well.
Yes, he knew I was coming in with absolutely zero knowledge, and occasionally when I do flub up names because, something that you have watched since you were toddlers, I just started watching, and, I make mistakes quite often. He knows what I'm getting at, but he still calls me on the fact that I'm naming the wrong thing. But he knew I was coming in with zero knowledge, and he really, worked with me and was really tough on me to make sure, I got it.
So have you been going around calling the wrong moves or saying the wrong people's names?
No, just like when I first started watching, like I got the network and watched my first WrestleMania in 2016, and then I finished my subscription, and I've been watching everyone since. But back last March, April, when I was 2-3 months into it, I had this bad habit of saying, instead of saying, WrestleMania 4, I would be like, WrestleMania 1991. And everyone would just kind of look at me, and I'd be like, what?
Well, okay, I'm gonna defend you a little bit there, because if you notice now, they go out of their way not to put the number behind it. So, technically speaking, the way you addressed it would be correct today, which is what they want you to do. They want you to say WrestleMania and the year or the state or something like that, because they don't put WrestleMania 33 and all that stuff on it anymore. It's just like WrestleMania, Texas.
Yeah, it's Wrestle Christmas, WrestleMania.
Yeah, there you go. See, I thought you was going to tell me something like, I saw that 7-time world champion Harley Carr, or, just start butchering people's names.
Oh, no. As far as that, like, if I didn't know someone's name, I would describe the guy until my trainer would be like, oh, that's Hawaiian Crutch, or that's the Butcher, or that's Yukon John. Because I started out by watching the really old stuff because I love the personalities, and I would still say, like, the early 80s, early 90s is my favorite.
Good for you. I love you already. That's good stuff. That's right. You got to go back and look at the Memphis stuff. I think the Roxy character would have fit in perfectly in that environment.
That would have been awesome. But, even as far back as, I can't remember if it was 1920s or 1940s, there was a wrestler named Ricky Starr, and his thing was he's a male ballerina. And he is absolutely hysterical. He's one of my favorites to watch, even though, all his stuff is in black and white and grainy as all hell, but he's still very entertaining.
I think that sounds like Rocca. Why am I thinking of Antonio Rocca? Anyway, I might have to go back into my vault now and look that up. Because I have a documentary on it, and I've seen some guy dancing around and on his toes and all that stuff. It's like, look at this guy go. he's great. So are you going to steal that? You going to turn it to a ballerina at some point? You faded out a little bit there.
Oh, I would say that's fair to say that I wouldn't be one. I trip over my own feet on a daily basis. Okay,
well, we'll skip that then. We'll stick with the Carnival. Are you aware?
Like I could do backflips, but I can't walk a straight line.
How's that possible?
I don't know, but if you meet any number of dancers or gymnasts or acrobats, they'll tell you the same thing, that, when they're in their element, they're very, very good, but everyday life, they're going to trip over that lump of air that's just on the ground.
Okay. Are you aware that there's a Roxy Rouge burlesque star out there?
Yes, that was brought to my attention shortly after, I changed my artwork and everything else. But I believe she goes by Roxy Rouge.
Oh, okay.
A little different. A little more French.
Just a minor difference there, so you can get away with it. No big deal. And, it's not like you're competing with an adult entertainer in its rawest form, to put it nicely. So I guess it's...
Oh, exactly. It's different worlds. And, yeah, we have the same name, but, I'm sure a lot of people will find that they share a name with somebody else in a different industry. So as long as she's not a wrestler, we're good.
You know, some fans might immediately assume that your outfit is based off of DC's Harley
Harley
Quinn.
Quinn? Yeah.
I knew you knew where I was going with that. So,
I get that a lot, but it's funny because I do love Harley Quinn. She's one of my absolute favorite characters. I have her comics, in the headcanon. I can imitate Arlene Sorkin on pitch. But that wasn't my goal when I designed my gear. When I was sewing it, I was like, okay, I know I look good in red. At the time, I was a blonde. And I was like, okay, red and white will be my main colors, like a carnival tent, and then black will be the accent. And my hair is half up, half down, and I do half up in pigtails. And that's mainly so I don't hurt myself because my hair gets in my face. I can't see where I'm going. It's all bad news. So I said half up, half down, that's safe, and then, red. And those are really the only similarities. I paint big glittery hearts on my face, and I wear striped stockings, and the really only similarities are, like, I have tiny, tiny pigtails that's half up, and I wear red. And that's about it. But, yes, I hear that quite often. I dyed my hair red. People are still calling me that. I'm just learning to ride with it at this point.
well, okay. Now, you got to remember, since when did Harley got? Harley got it introduced about 93.
1992.
Is it two? Okay, so since that time,
yeah, with Batman the Animated Series.
That is correct. She started in the cartoon and then worked her way into the canon of the DC universe, and she's had many different variations and incarnations of outfits since then. And yours may have elements of it that just remind people of the it's the basic red. The diamond shapes that's in there, the hair, especially with the movie that just came out with last year, the color streaks on the ends and all that stuff like that. So, yeah, I think you were going to get it one way or the other, whether you intended to do it or not, and unfortunately, but you can make.
It's
Roxy
not a bad association.
Well, I don't know. That depends on how crazy you're going to be. Harley has calmed down over the years for you comic book fans out there. What do you mean, unfortunately?
Unfortunately, my favorite Harley Quinn was the jumpsuit, which I have one of my own that I made, and the Harley that was just absolutely. I wouldn't say she wasn't like bat sleep crazy, but she was definitely a rocker, and she almost killed Batman. She was just awesome, and I feel like she's been down to shooting sex toy, which is upsetting because this brilliant, complex character has just been watered down.
Well, okay, yeah, she's been watered down a bit, but let us give credit where credit is due. The fact that she was popular enough to come off of a cartoon, because all she was there for was just to give the Joker a sidekick. that was her only purpose in being created. And then it just kind of grew. So, you give her a little bit of credit for that. Yeah, she's down.
Oh, of course. Like I said, it's not a bad association. And, it's not what I was going for because I knew from being a big fan of the character that I might accidentally bear similarities. So I made purposeful decisions to, okay, I might get this, but I'm going to, make sure I don't. And then it happened anyway. And at this point, I'm just riding with it. I'm like, yeah. Some people hate her, some people love her. Regardless, then no one's gonna call me Harley. Like they know I'm Roxy, who looks like Harley, and I'm kind of okay with that.
There we go. And quick plug for DC and the new Batman's and Harley Quinn animated feature that's coming out. So for those of you that happen to be comic book / animated fans, you have that to look forward to. So there you go.
Woohoo!
Yeah, okay. So now, speaking of comics and animation and cartoons, who drew this cartoon version of yourself on your Facebook?
The one on the Facebook?
Yes, there's a banner and you have yourself up all muscled up with the hearts on and the Lady of the Midway.
That was oh gosh, I have to pronounce his last name. James, I'm sorry if I get this wrong. His name is James Bukakis. Okay, BUK something. But he's on Instagram and Facebook as Buckshot Art, BUK Shot Art, and he's phenomenal. He takes commissions, and he's the one who did that up for me, and it is one of my favorites to date.
It's very good. It's a very good piece of work. And I don't feel so bad now because you have also now butchered somebody's last name. So
I know, it's terrible. To be fair, like, I've only ever communicated with him online, so I've never heard it spoken.
okay.
If someone said it to me, like, I could repeat it, but it's like, it's just the way it's spelled. I'm like, I'm going to give this my best shot. And James, again, I am sorry.
James, I'm sure you accept the apology. I'm sure he's a nice enough guy. Nobody that could draw that well could just be a jerk. So, hey.
He's awesome. Like, I'm very, very picky. And, he tolerated, like, about a month of going back and forth of, that's not quite right. And gave me an amazing finished product. So, he's very, very patient.
Well, see, now that's high praise. See, that's good stuff that he has there. And he was willing to work with you. So.
Yes, thank you.
You can't beat that. Have you ever considered taking a job in the carnival? I mean, I know you have your own, but have you considered?
Yeah, I do have my own that I manage, and that's quite fun. But if a carnival ever, came through town, I had the opportunity to work there for a couple of nights or travel with them to a couple of different towns, I absolutely would. Just for the experience, and I'm a huge people person, just everyone you would see, and I'm totally guilty of being a people watcher. So, running a ride or running a booth and just being in the experience of just watching the crowds, that would be phenomenal. Or even just still walking around and bothering people. That'd be fun, too. So, yeah, absolutely, I would.
Still walking around and bothering people. That.
Yeah, like dropping popcorn on their heads, surprising people for, surprise photo op, and then watching them scream and be like, oh, okay, selfie.
I
actually was down at the Collier County Fair back in this March 2017, and we had the ring up back, and I had my still phone, and I said, I'll be back in 20 minutes, and the guys were kind of just like, all right, have fun, and I literally ran around the entire length of the carnival saying, come fast, and if I would see that, a group was standing in a circle, I would sneak up behind one person, put my finger on my lips, like, shh, don't tell them, and wait for them to turn around, and they would always, jump, because they don't expect a 7-foot-tall blonde girl to be behind them. All their friends would laugh, and then they would follow them back to the ring. So it was fun.
You enjoy yourself, don't you?
Very much. I equate my persona very much to Bugs Bunny. I'm a jerk, but I'm a lovable jerk, and I have antics.
Now here's the real question. Are we talking about Bugs Bunny classic, or are we talking about modern day? There's the difference is minor, but there's slight difference.
Oh, classic.
Okay. Well, yeah, he was a jerk.
Yeah, very much so. But you still loved him. So, and that's kind of where I go, I have my shenanigans and my antics, and I might do something silly every once in a while. But it's all in good fun. I don't intend to hurt anyone's feelings.
Well, that's good. Who was the puppy that you brought to the ring?
That would be Scooter. He is he's 14. He's my Applehead Chihuahua. I get him. I have what my parents lovingly call visitation, because, between the carnival and everything else, I'm out quite a bit. So he doesn't live with me full time, unfortunately. He's the family dog.
Oh.
But my parents, they're motorcycle enthusiasts, and they go out on rides, and I get visitation. So then Scooter goes everywhere with me.
I get visitation. Well, that sounds
which is great. We were in Sarasota one time, and my parents came to see, and they were sitting in the crowd. I was like, all right, well, instead of having him in the dressing room, you guys hang on to Scooter. And, we finished the match. I got out of the ring, and Scooter ran up to me because I'm his person. So, instead of, notifying that, I recognized that the dog ran out of the crowd, I just picked him up and walked off, and all the kids were like, she stole your dog!
That instantly made you baby face. That's
one of my favorite moments.
There's no way.
That's one of my favorite moments.
I bet it was. I was like, there's no way that you could have possibly have entered in heel and had a puppy hanging on you.
Yeah, no, everyone would be like, she's got a dog, she's awesome, because dogs are awesome.
Yes,
But no, that was great. He just ran straight up to me. I was like, ah, perfect. So now he's my road trip buddy, and he hangs out in the dressing room, and he loves it because he gets spoiled attention and he gets fatty puppy feed whenever we're on the road. So
I can imagine. I'm sure this was probably a long shot, but have you been approached by any promoter to change your gimmick or play down the carnival bit? Has anybody come to you and say, hey, I don't think this is going to work. Why don't we try this?
no one has yet. Everyone so far has been really supportive. Everyone's like, so far they're like, we love the fact that you're so out there, that you're so, for lack of a better word, characterized. They like the fact that it's different and that, a lot of what I do might be solely for laughs. No one's really said, hey, what you're doing is great, but can you be a normal girl? So no, I haven't gotten that quite yet.
Okay, well, hopefully you won't, because you seem to have thrown yourself all in on the carnival, and the carnival loves you back. So you can't really break that up.
Hey, go strong or go home. Like you find something and you commit to it wholly. If you believe what you're doing, then other people are going to believe you too. And I think that's where I found myself.
Well, apparently. So, considering that, what would you say your short-term goal is right now? You say you're about a year and a half in. Is that correct?
Year and a half in.
Okay, so you're a year and a half into the wrestling side of things. What would your short-term goals within the wrestling business be?
Short-term goals right now are just to travel as much as I can. So far, I've been all throughout Florida. I've been to Tabo, Georgia, and June I'll be going up to South Carolina, which is very exciting. So, short term, travel as much as possible, see everything I can. But the big goal for now, within the next couple of years, is I would really love to job out or in NXT and some breath. Whether I'm just sort of help set up the ring, or they have me, in the ring, just to NXT. That's the goal.
Okay.
Because it's in Florida, and so am I, so it's right next door.
That's very achievable. Not like you couldn't get up and drive there.
Exactly. And then go to Disney after I'm done.
That's right.
Nah, just kidding. Universal Harry Potter World.
Oh my goodness! Here you go. Now you're gonna plug Harry Potter, right?
All the nerd things.
I see that. You done went from comic books to the carnival to Harry Potter. You just all over the place.
Hey, if you like something.
But that's a good thing. That is a good thing. We can't knock that.
Exactly.
The big move. You've already told me what one of your moves, but when they come to see you, what is the finish? When Roxy hits you with this, it's all over.
Oh, my kill switch.
Kill switch. All right. Little homage to Christian.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
A little homage to Christian there.
A little bit. The line's more of, because some people also call it the unprettier, but I like to still refer to it as the kill switch, because at the end of the night, you hit the kill switch for the power at the carnival, and then it's all over. So that's what I use.
Well, when they went PG, using the term like kill switch didn't jive anymore, so it's...
No, that was frowned upon, but no one's told me no yet.
Oh no, yeah, I think you got some life in that. You can do it. You can use that as much as you like. I don't think anybody's gonna stop. And of course, like you said, when it's all over for the carnival, you got to hit the kill switch. Everybody's got to go home.
Exactly.
I'm sure you can tell them you ain't got to go home, but you got to get out of here, or whatever.
Don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here.
There you go. Have you had a career-defining match yet? I mean, of course it changes, but within this year and a half.
Oh, right.
Would you
I would say my career. Well, career defining, as far as I've been, like I'm still so new, so it's hard to say. But I think, you know what? If anything, my debut.
Really?
It was against Nikki Adams. She's normally in New York, and she's been in the business about 11 years, and she really, gave me a hell of a match, especially for my very first one. And if anything, heck, why can't the beginning be the definition, She started me out on a very, very, very good note, and I just hope to continue that positivity as I go forward.
Would she also qualify as the toughest that you've been in the ring with thus far?
Sorry?
I said, would she also qualify as the toughest that you've been in the ring with so far?
Oh, heck yeah. Like, Nikki is a force to be reckoned with. Like, she's the toughest I've been once in the ring, and I sure as hell when you start a fight with her outside of it. Like, yeah, I would work with her again in a moment. I look forward to stepping in the squared circle with her again. But, yeah, she's definitely the toughest and, challenges me the most.
If there is a match that exists online right now that you would say for any fan of yours, like, hey, if you're trying to understand what I'm about, this is the match that you need to watch, which one would it be?
Oh. Well, there are very different strides I take depending on where I'm at. I'm either, having a lot of shenanigans, or I'm just, having slightly worse shenanigans, not being as nice as I can be. But that one would definitely be, oh gosh. And it's sad that I can't think of one right at the top of my head. I've only had about 30 matches or so. I'm just trying to think. Oh God, that's such a tough question.
Well, that's my job. I'm supposed to ask you the hard questions.
The hard-hitting stuff.
That's right. Hard-hitting stuff like what moves do you like, and why do you like Bugs Bunny?
Hey, that's slightly easier than where in your brief experience you tell people to look like. This is what I want you to watch.
Yeah.
Probably two come to mind. There is she's not wrestling anymore, but any of my matches with the hedonistic Huntress Morgana, and that's under Real Pro Wrestling, or Legendary Pro Wrestling, my match against Chelsea Diamond, where I was actually managed by former WWF Women's Champion Leilani Kai.
Ooh. Were you heel?
So I was.
Ooh. You were evil.
I was. Oh yeah, I was a jerk. There's no way to put it. Yes.
Well that will come back into play.
But in a very lighthearted manner.
How are you heel in a lighthearted manner? It's just...
Easy. I steal people's water, say thank you, and then throw it at them.
Oh.
At least I said thank you.
Okay. So as long as I say thank you, it's okay.
I smile during the match. That's lighthearted, especially when I'm not being punched. Lots of smiles for people who are watching, and if they look it up, they'll see what I mean by that. There's one thing, like, if I ever have anybody in a hold, one thing I'll always yell is, I'll go, yeah, because that's what I want them to say when the ref says it. Have you had enough?
Okay.
I'm helping them. This is what you should say. Yeah.
You're helping everybody. Okay, so you got these things down as to what you need, and apparently what your opponent and the crowd should be doing too.
Hey, everyone could use a little help.
Yes. I'll do the thinking for you. Is that the idea here?
Exactly. Let me be your brain.
And that will come back into play. See, look, it's all starting to rope in together. Remember that episode of The Librarians that I talked about earlier? We will come back to that.
Yes. That's the tip of the Ferris wheel. We'll get back to it.
There you go. See, and she used the Carnival reference.
Of course.
Yeah. Let me recap your your contacts. Of course, this is going to be the second time around. Facebook, people can catch you at Roxy Rouge Russell, right? Facebook.com / Twitter, The Roxy Rouge, and of course Instagram, Lady Roxy Rouge. If people want to follow you on either of those levels of platforms of social media, you know what we have to get to now.
Twitter is The Roxy Rouge because someone already had that name.
Oh,
so
sorry.
I had to add a little something to it, so it's The Roxy Rouge on Twitter.
Oh, did I not say that? I'm sorry. I have it written down as the, but I didn't.
Oh.
Apparently, I didn't say it.
It's all good.
It's time for random questions.
Okay, so you know where we're at now. It's time for the portion of the show where I call random questions. This is where you get to answer stuff that doesn't necessarily have to do anything with wrestling per se. Some of it will be, and if you've ever seen Inside the Actors Studio, then you'll really get the gist of it. So, Roxy, are you ready?
Bring it.
Outside of wrestling, what else do you enjoy doing?
It's tough to say because I'm actually sort of a grandma in that respect. I knit, crochet, and sew. And hold on. I hang out with my brother, who is just, if you picked up any feedback, that was him. And I also enjoy cross-country runs. Not during the summer because Florida is terrible with humidity, but when it does cool down, I do enjoy running.
Are the games rigged?
What? No, they're games of skill. Your skill level just might not be high enough.
Okay, so
come and try again.
So the goalposts don't move. Yeah, try. Look, you already programmed. Try again. Okay, I'll go with that.
Exactly. What? The more you try, the better you get at it.
I see. What's the secret to working the guess your weight or age game? So working it, not being the person on the side now. Being the person that's standing there guessing this person's weight or age.
Well, that's actually a tell. If the people are with somebody, you look at the friend. Because the friend will always, like, the one person's going to try and be as stone-faced, poker-faced as they can. The friend, however, is just waiting to see if you get it right. So if you look at them, they're going to give it away.
That is one of the tells. Also, clothing.
Oh, yes.
Have to go at clothing. Thirdly,
well, sometimes that's a toss-up because sometimes, people will wear clothing that's not quite appropriate for their age group, but then you just know that they're a little older than they like to admit. So that's a tell. Glasses are always a good tell because the style of glasses will differ on age. And then as far as weight goes,
you don't guess it.
You have to look at people who are more muscular. No, that's actually one of the easier ones.
No.
You look for how muscular people are, and if they're more muscular, their number's going to be higher than what they look. And if they're very, very thin, then they're going to be they're not going to be more than $110 soaking wet. So you just have to look at their frame, and that's normally a good basis if you're going to get something weight. Well, I don't suggest unless you're working this game, don't guess people's weight out loud because some people are rather touchy about that. But
you have to now. I'm going to say this. I'll say you have to. Now I'm saying this in relation to this wasn't the Carnival. Once upon a time in another life, I worked at Six Flags. That was the game that I was assigned to. The rules that I was given was don't worry about their weight. You can guess close because you don't have to get it on the mark. And all they wanted to do is I must guess within 10 pounds or 2 years, something like that. But if you got somebody that's heavy set coming up there, just give them the prize. Don't
Fair enough. Well, the carnival, a lot of carnivals, not mine, of course, but if you look out, there might be a secondary attendant at that game, and they will normally look like they're at a different booth, but they're actually behind the scale, and they will program it to stop at a certain number depending on what the guesser says. Not my carnival, but that is something you can look out for.
Yeah, you seem very very sure to say not my carnival. Now I'm not saying that I do this, but
no, of course not. Play the game as many times as you want. My guesser is psychic.
You know, Rox, I'm starting to wonder about you. I'm not sure if I should play these games of yours. That sound like I might lose money.
It's all a part of the experience. You'll win next time.
Yeah, that's what they tell me when I went to Vegas. Try again, sir. Everybody's a winner.
Exactly.
Except for when you go against the house. The house always wins. And I'm starting
Okay,
to,
we got to feed our carnies. You know, the jugglers eat too.
yes, indeed. Your coworkers, what do they do when they find out that you wrestle / run a carnival?
Well, that's funny because I switched careers. My other one, you know, because I juggled three things: wrestling, the carnival, and a regular job.
Juggled. Ha.
I switched. See what I did there?
Yeah.
I switched jobs back in March, and my previous employment, they weren't terribly positive about it. You know, they thought it was, you know, kind of little fun little thing, but they encouraged me not to speak about it. That, you know, I should have more passion for the job than I do the wrestling, and it just wasn't a positive thing that they were reflecting back on it. So that's one of the reasons I left. I was like, okay, and
Boo on them.
boo on them, who shall remain nameless because I don't want to be sued.
That's right. Don't do that.
But then my new job, they are all about it. My boss wants me to hang my title belt in my cubicle. They want to hear about it. They're completely supportive for, you know, helping me if I need to leave early, if I need to stay late for any good reason. They are fully behind it, and they think it's hysterical because they're like, but when you look at you, you don't look like the type of person who would fight. And I'm like, and there's my advantage.
Well, then the common question or answer behind that is, what does the type of person that would fight look like? I don't know. That's just.
I don't know. Like, I think they're thinking of like some grizzled, tattooed, big, bald guy,
Yeah,
like Stone Cold. But but no, I mean, as far as ladies go, I don't think they expect girls to fight. Period. So when you say, yeah, I'm a wrestler, they kind of like try to picture in their head the type of girl that they picture to fight and can't come up with something. So they're always like, but you don't look like you do.
Well, now you know differently. And knowing's half the
Absolutely.
battle. All right. So yay on that company that supports you. Boo on the other one.
Exactly. They are fantastic. My previous ones, well, they're going to become obsolete in 20 years. So, woohoo! There's karma. Long time in process, but there's karma.
Well, karma works long term sometimes. You know, that happens.
Exactly.
I'm going to break this one up just in case the first half you don't know or you don't have an opinion on. Greatest video game character ever made.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
The greatest video game character ever made.
Oh, of course I have an opinion on that one. I am terribly, terribly biased. This has a lot of nostalgia for me, but Link from Legend of Zelda.
What is the fascination with Link? I've heard that a couple of times now. What is the fascination there?
Not so much with Link, because as far as character goes, you know, the video games now, like if you look at BioShock, like the Big Daddy, you know, he's got a backstory and complexity to him, and there's a reason he is the way he is. But Link, you know, he doesn't talk aside from, you know, noises, and he has a very irritated fairy that he travels with. Anyone who's played the old N64 games will know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the world that he's in. It's the whole game. It's the storyline it takes you on. That's where the fascination is. It's this whole different reality that you get to play and totally lose yourself in. And Link, because he's so plain, you can easily put yourself, you know, in that role and kind of, you know, play the game as yourself.
Indeed.
So he's more of an everyman, and I think that's the appeal.
Fair enough. Favorite comic book character, excluding Harley Quinn. She's a squad. Because I knew you was gonna jump for that. So yeah, we're gonna exclude
right away.
Yeah, I had to say that quick before you went out there.
Favorite comic book character? Does manga count?
Yeah, we'll give that. Sure.
All right. favorite comic book characters. I'm trying to think about all the ones I've read, but okay. You know what? I'm still going to have to stay in the regular comic universe. Oh, God, my best friend is going to kill me for saying this, but I love Spider-Man.
Why is the best friend going to kill you for that?
Because he loves Batman. Everything is Batman, and I love Batman, too, clearly. But Spider-Man has always been the favorite.
Okay, so here again, I have Mr. Green has come across this same debate, Spider-Man and Batman. I am going to just go ahead and put this out that two of your fellow colleagues, I'm pretty sure you haven't met them yet, but I think you've wrestled one of their sisters in Tragedy Ann. Super Pereira and Nina Monet have an ongoing issue of Batman versus Spider-Man. And it's like this never-ending argument. Why is it always Batman and Spider-Man? That doesn't, I don't know.
I don't know, but, like, I like them both, and I'm happy liking them both, and if I had to choose, like, I'd say Spider-Man just because, I can't go into the details, because, again, best friend is going to kill me.
Go into the details, because your best friend need to hear it, so y'all can argue later.
Oh, God.
Come on, best friend.
Well, Spider-Man, well, they're both orphans, so there's a lot of, if you ever see like the comics online, there's a lot of fan based comics, making fun of that with the two of them fighting. And I believe there is a YouTube channel called I forget what it's called, but they animate two characters fighting each other, and Spider-Man won against Batman, just saying. But Spider-Man is more enjoyable to. Yes, Death Battle.
Death Battle's awesome.
It's one of my favorite things. But Spider-Man's just zany. He's more fun to watch. He's got the wittier comebacks. Not everything is death, gloom, and doom. Like, come on, Batman. Spider-Man's parents died too, and his uncle died in front of him.
Oh, my God. You are saying the exact same things that Super Pereira said. Jeez. Everything's not death, gloom, and doom. I was like, man, did you read her script?
Well, I mean, they have a lot of similarities. I mean, Batman and Spider-Man are both orphans. Batman has Catwoman. Spider-Man has Felicia Hardy. So it's like they have so many similarities. It just comes down to, like, for me, who's more enjoyable to watch. Well, if I'm looking for something serious, that's Batman. But I generally enjoy things that make me smile. So Spider-Man it is.
Okay. Fair enough. I was just so taken that I was like, it literally was almost word for word the same answer.
Verbatim.
Wow. So there's another one for the Batman-Spider-Man argument. So I hope that I can get this clip that your best friend is able to hear it. I'm going to ask that you share this particular podcast on your page so that they can scroll through and y'all could just get to going. So.
Oh, I definitely will, and I think I have got two friends that I'm particularly close with. Karin, she's gonna be like, all right, I see your point, and I don't think she leans any particular way too heavily. She's more like, if you tell her Doctor Who's better than Star Trek, she's gonna have a fit. But my other friend Zach, he's the one who I'm gonna hear from.
Well, in fairness to all of my my nerd/geek friends out there that have these vicious debates about who's better than what and this, that, and the other, let us keep in mind that we have to go into extreme detail when we're talking about who's better than what, because there's Batman goofy, there's Batman serious. There's Batman when he was a killer. You got different incarnations of that guy. So
exactly. There's the George Clooney version that we don't talk about.
He doesn't exist. Yeah,
exactly.
You're right. We don't talk about that. that Batman. Yeah, that one. I'm more apt to give Adam West time than I will George Clooney.
Yeah.
Now, I have a reason behind that, and I know I'm getting off topic, but I need to get this out real quick. I have a reason behind why I give Adam West's Batman a little bit more oomph than I would George Clooney's, only because the show was popular enough that it did the same thing for Riddler and Catwoman as the animated series did for Harley Quinn. Because Riddler wasn't a big character at the time, and neither did he wear the suit, but the actor that was playing him didn't like the tights, so they made him a suit, and that got incorporated into the comic books. Catwoman never
Good
wore...
old Enigma.
Yeah, there you go. Catwoman never wore a bodysuit until Julie Newmar had it on the show.
And she put the belt on. That was her choice to wear that belt.
See, and now you have it. And Catwoman has always been in a bodysuit since. So you got to give it a little bit of a nod, even though it's a silly show, that it added something to the general canon of Batman.
Oh, my friend Rin, she likes to joke about this. Remember when the Joker just did silly things like steal all the stop signs in Gotham? Now he's blowing them up.
Well, yeah, see, look, back then, you didn't need an explanation behind what they was doing. They just did stuff. I'm robbing the bank, okay?
Exactly.
But now, it has to be a little bit
Stealing
more...
everyone's left shoe. Okay.
Well, I forget the writer. He said that's why he likes the Joker. He said that character is just unpredictable. He's like he might kill you because he didn't like what you're wearing, but then again, he may give you $500 because he didn't like what you're wearing. So go figure.
Yeah.
See how we just ranted on that for a little while? That was for you comic book people out there. And I haven't even got through the stuff. What's your favorite word?
My favorite word?
Yes.
Phantasmagorical.
What's your least favorite word?
See, I want to say it because I know a lot of people hate it. I don't hate it, but I know a lot of people do. So for those of you who hate this word, but my least favorite word is a word that technically doesn't exist, but everybody says it, and it grates on my nerves, irregardless. It's not a word. But it's in the vocabulary of every Florida person. So down here it's a word, but I don't like it.
You're going to get attacked when this comes out.
Oh, I know. Probably for saying moist, but...
Indeed. And you've insulted your state, too, so, you know.
Hey, I'm originally from Connecticut. Like, everyone from Florida is, like, most of us anyway, are, like, 90% are from a different place, and then you get the 10% who were born and raised here, who can lay claim to that. But, like, everyone here is, like, we all have things that we don't like that the state says. Like, we know we're the crazy state. Like, we're good.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough. What turns you on creatively and or emotionally?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
What turns you on creatively and or emotionally?
Okay, that's actually an easy one. Theater, period.
Really?
Whether I'm going to see a straight play or, in particular, musicals, I just get inspired by the depth and the fact that theater is very much alive. The fact that every performance you're going to see is different. Doesn't matter if you have to see the same play 12 nights in a row. It's going to be different for the actors every single night. So you're going to see a different show every single night. And there's just a sort of rawness to it that absolutely draws me in. And that's hugely what inspires me.
What turns you off?
Bad humor. Now, and I'm all for, like, I love Monty Python. I think the dry humor is fantastic and it cracks me up. But it's when people try to replicate that and it's just bad, stupid humor, and that just upsets me, and I'm just like, I'm going to go to my room and leave me alone.
Now, when we talk about people trying to replicate that, are you just talking about just in amongst friends, or are we talking about another comedy troupe on TV or on stage trying to do it?
Oh, no. This is just, like, in general, like, everyone knows, like, movies that are supposed to be funny, but that just come off as, like, what am I watching?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just things like that, works of art like that. Like, I appreciate the creative process behind it, but if you're going to rip something off, at least do it well.
I could go with that. I'm good with that.
Yeah, nothing makes me more upset than bad humor, but, you know.
Well, keep that in mind, as fans. Don't be telling her bad jokes.
Hey, I'm all for, like, okay, like, that's just for, like, bad humor, just, like, things like in poor taste, or just, like, I know a lot of people like this movie, but I just don't. Sausage Party, I just didn't think it was funny, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. Just like humor that he either tells with people or you're just like, what am I watching? But like, if you have a pun, tell me it, because I love puns. They are the highest form of humor. I know they're not, but they make me laugh, and I love them. So if you have a pun, tell me puns.
Well, here again, I will reiterate a common thread that you have just brought up, specifically Sausage Party, which I haven't bothered to watch yet because I think I was
you don't need to.
and here again, who was I? I was talking with the Duchess as Ali, another one of your wrestling colleagues. I don't think y'all had a match yet, but perhaps you will down the road.
Friday, actually.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
When you speak with the Duchess, ask her about Sausage Party.
Uh-oh. She's already going to be punching me. Like, is this going to lead to a bigger fight?
No. Our conversation kind of drifted off into what was a bad movie, and I asked her, like, okay, what's the worst one that you've seen this year? And she's like, oh, Sausage Party was terrible. I was like, really? I haven't seen that.
We'll get along on that point. Yeah, don't watch it. It's an hour and a half of your life that you will never get back.
Okay. Well, see, now I felt that way about Independence Day Resurgence. I was like, why did I have to watch this? I don't know. Was it Resurgence? I might be thinking about the wrong end name, but...
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see it, so I couldn't tell you.
Well, no, you don't need to see it. It's a terrible movie. It's just senseless and waste of time for anybody.
Duly noted.
That's one of the, it's Resurgence. So anybody that's looking at that movie just for, for kicks or something like that, yes, it's just not good. Not good at all. Okay, back to the... See, I'm getting off track.
Back to the questions.
Back to the questions. That's right. What's the favorite curse word?
My favorite can I actually say it?
For this time, yes.
Douche canoe.
Is that a curse?
It is in my world. Because people say different things in combinations, but one day my friend and I were hanging out, and she comes out, I think we were driving, really angry, and she called someone a douche canoe, and that literally became my favorite thing, just because it sounds so weird. It's just right.
Wow. Okay.
And the F word's always a favorite, but if I'm, really just looking to yell something out of frustration, that's going to come out first.
That is interesting. What sound or noise do you love?
Oh, like if I hear it, it makes me happy?
Yes.
Okay, well, I have a cat that I rescued.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never heard a cat do this, and it literally makes me giggle every time she does it, even at 6 in the morning when she wants food. He sounds like a baby Chewbacca. So she meows, and it just comes out as a Chewbacca thing, but since she's so small, it's like a teeny tiny Chewbacca voice, and it cracks me up every time.
It's just one you just can't be mad at her, huh?
Exactly. Well, the thing is, the cat knows when an alarm clock is for, and I don't know how, because, she's 5 years old, and she's spent her whole life in those Petco cubicles trying to get adopted, and, but she knows when an alarm clock is, and the moment it goes off, she's up in my face, chirping and Chewbacca-ing for food and attention.
Mm-hmm. Well, she knows what to do.
But no, I can't get mad at her, but it's so damn cute. But yeah, that noise makes me happy.
Well, with the opposite end of that, what noise or sound do you hate?
Anything that's like loud and unpleasant, particularly like when tires squeal or nails on a chalkboard, or just things that like make you cringe hearing them.
Okay. What profession other than wrestling, and in your case other than carnival work, would you like to attempt?
Professional, actually, running a booth at a con with cosplay, because before I got to wrestling, cosplay was a major hobby of mine. I still do it occasionally, but I just don't have the time for it anymore.
Okay, well then we're gonna make a quick plug here for Dragon Con that that Roxy should. That's right. You should, if you're going to book yourself, you should find your way up to Dragon Con, because they usually have a wrestling match that takes place right there in the middle of it. So just a little word that if you're trying to get into the con and you're trying to get into it for free, I would definitely look into that and see that you can get yourself booked into that thing. And that way you can get up there, have the match, and then kind of roam around and enjoy yourself on the floor. That's just...
Absolutely. If anyone is listening, I have several ready cosplays ready to go. So if you're listening, I have that available, or I can make one.
See, now I'm just passing that on.
Shameless self-promotion, but like that's exciting to me. I didn't know that they did that. So I've only ever been to MegaCon, Fanboy Expo, and the other cons that are down here in Florida. So I've always wanted to go to Dragon Con. So that's exciting.
You should go. Dragon Con is quite the experience. I was there once a year, every year for some time. So passing that on. I'd
be in nerd heaven all, 3-4 days?
Yeah, 4 days worth of it. Of course, by the time you get up to Monday, it's kind of wound down, but Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, you're pretty much on fire.
Well, my favorite thing with cons, too, is, like, if you're ever in a hotel that has a ton of other cosplayers at it, like, you'll hear things that, out of context, are the weirdest things you've ever heard in your life, but because they're in a cosplay hotel, they just come off as funny.
Well, yeah, those are conversations that you can't have generally anywhere else in the world.
Exactly.
But
like, come sit me up. I can't. I'm painted blue. Like, those are things you're never going to hear anywhere else.
No, you're not. You're not going to hear that anywhere else other than another convention of similar ilk. But, yeah.
Exactly.
And besides, on that weekend, they take over those hotels. It's like a triangle of hotels in downtown Atlanta, and they just pretty much lock them down. So, and I say that...
They know we're coming.
Yes, they know every year. So I will say that to say this, that if you're going to make any effort to try to get there, you probably should start, like, immediately.
If not this year, next year.
Well, yeah. That's a good way to look at it, I guess.
Like, if it's already too late for this year, then, I'll start being like, hey, guys, next year.
I don't think it's too late. I don't think it's too late, but I would definitely look into it now if time was there.
Oh, absolutely.
You make it to the WWE, and Vince McMahon is there to welcome you. What would you like to hear him tell you?
That I have a contract and I'm on the Raw or SmackDown roster, and he's very excited that I'm there, and that I can meet anyone I want, but mainly just that I have a contract and I'm welcomed and I'm there for a while.
All right.
And that he's heard all good things. That would be nice to hear. I've heard all good things about you. Thank God.
You don't want to hear him say, hey, I heard that you were terrible. Get out of here.
We're iffy about you, but here you go. Like, no, that's not what you want to hear. Like, oh, we've heard all good things about you. We're excited to see you. You have a contract for the next 10 years. Woohoo.
Well,
that would be that's like pipe dreams. But hey, you said if I could hear anything.
That's right. This is your thing. If you can hear anything and that's that, then go for it. Hopefully that'll happen for you. Now, here we go. As I whip the paper around.
Fantasy booking.
Fantasy booking. If you, Roxy Rouge, were able to book, write, or create your own storyline and or angle, what would it be? Whom would it be against? And, whatever little storyline points you can toss in there. Pitch me your angle.
Well, my angle would be, it probably have to take place in NXT, but obviously WWE and NXT, that's the big dream. So if I could create a fantasy angle, it would be there. I would be paired with the villain, and we would have a reigning feud with probably Bayley and a couple other people of her choice, people who are just like Bayley to me, she's the epitome of a baby face. So it would be, again, me with them in my corner and her with, whomever else in her corner. Just, gimmick versus definition of a baby face, and just have that feud going on for a while that we don't like her because, she's a mark, this, that, and the other. and just run that feud that, you know, Carnival, the Vaudevillain, that's where it's supposed to be, and she's taking that down and run that for a while.
I see. Now, yeah, we need a time machine for that one. You got the vaudevillains.
Exactly. Hey, you said fantasy, so.
Well, that's true. You got that. This is a fantasy. Now,
the only other thing I would do is my father. There's a striking resemblance to Stone Cold Steve Austin, and we find it hilarious. The only other fantasy thing I would do is just to, you know, be walked to the ring by both of them, just because I think it's funny that they look so much alike.
You got your
and WWE Stone Cold, not ECW, where he had blonde hair.
Well,
first time I saw that, I was like, "That's not him."
Well, of course. Now, technically, that was Superstar Steve Austin, but you know that's.
Yeah, true. He's better bald.
You got Stunning Steve, WCW Superstar, and ECW, then Ringmaster, then Stone Cold. So somewhere along those lines. That was the journey. But here, I always give my end of the booking scenario for whomever my guest happens to be on the show with me that particular episode. And as it is you, I have come up with this. First, I will continue you as heel. This will take place on the independent scene, so this is actually quite possible. We'd have you come in town with your Carnival. Again, remember, you're heel in this. So, a little bit of a Carnival of Evil or something along those lines. I don't know how you'd want to shape that. I
like how I am at LPW, Legendary Pro Wrestling. I'm their heel there, so.
Okay, but see, we can't have you be zany heel. We gotta have you just a little bit darker than zany.
Touch of meanness.
Touch of meanness. Gotta have a touch of meanness in there. I asked you earlier where you were recruiting people into your Carnival, and you weren't doing it quite yet. But in this particular angle, that's part of the lure that you have. I don't know how. We'll do it two ways. You can either force them into servitude through victory of the match, or if you're just going to go just flat out supernatural, well, not supernatural, but if we were just going to go flat out a little bit more fantastic or comic booky, we'll have you hypnotize them into being your Carnival workers. This goes on.
It's so funny you should say that. My recent match against the Red Dragon, she kept saying I couldn't slay her, so I said, I don't want to slay you. I need another freak for my Carnival, and at the end of the match, I stuck her in a dog crate. The two of the guys from the back came out and rescued her, but if they hadn't, she would have been my carnie. So
she'd have been your carnie for good. Forced into servitude, much like this story is. So I think we're going to go with it. We're going to go.
Funny that you should say that, but
yeah. See, look, just because of that, because you went the extra mile of forcing someone into a crate, we're going to go with hypnotized. So
okay.
So we have you do that. This has to go on for at least a good, let's say, month and a half, because you got to build up at least a reasonable stable of Carnival workers that have fallen under your sway. Placing them in various positions, whether they be the strongman or the mermaid, or whatever sideshow freaks that you choose to turn them into once you've acquired them.
Okay.
Which finally culminates into the fight for somebody who's going to fight for them, Super Pereira, because she's the most logical choice to try to defend the innocent and get them back to their homes or whatever, get them back to their lives. So it will come down to a match between Roxy versus Super Pereira for the lives and the livelihood of her Carnival freaks.
I dig it.
Somebody book that match. Now, why I brought up the librarians is, why did I bring up the librarians? Because that they had an episode very similar to that on that particular show, where the cast of them showed up at a carnival, where this particular carnival owner had some sort of magic property, where not only did he just sway people into his carnival, but he literally turned them into whatever carnival freak that he chose. So if he decided that you were going to be a two-headed woman, you grew another head. It's stuff like that.
Oh, I like that. I might have to Netflix that.
I'm not even sure if the library has it on. Is it on Netflix?
I don't know, but if anything, it's probably on Hulu, so I can just mooch off my friends and watch it there.
Well, there you go. So there you have it.
I don't think anyone really has their own account. It's just the one person who pays for the Hulu or the Netflix and the Parasite.
And everybody else that just rides off of it.
Exactly.
Hey, man, did you pay it this month? I can't watch my show.
I've actually gotten that from my brother, and he got a look, and he quickly went, not bad.
That's terrible. You're supposed to, you're supposed to pay for these things. Believe it or not.
Supposed to. Air quotes there.
Yeah, so you have done a fantastic job of going through this entire podcast and covering all of these questions, and you've been quite entertaining in that you've brought up several little pieces of nerd lore along the way. I mean, you've ranged from Bugs Bunny
to have more fun.
Yeah, to Harry Potter, to the con conventions and cosplay and all that other stuff.
I run the gamut on my fandom.
I see that. Just based on that alone, I mean, you make it up to Atlanta, I'm going to have to bring out the camera and sit you down and do this long form all over again in an entirely different setting in the comic book shop, because that's where the good stuff happens.
That would be fantastic, but I would be so ADD just being like, looking around, being like, hold on, yeah, okay, hold on, ooh, what's this, like, just poking around and everything. But, yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Well, you have to concentrate. I know it's hard to do, but you got to concentrate when you're on air and the camera's there. Yes, the comic book shop is great and everything, but you gotta focus.
Give me 15 minutes to fangirl, and then I'd be fine.
Okay, well, you can have that, and then you just come back around and just join me there in front of the camera after you've gone through the comics and all that good stuff. Then settle down and we'll enjoy a good conversation, much like now.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so Roxy, you have been a treasure to have on the show. Final thoughts and final contacts, because you got to repeat that. This is the third time around, so anybody that's
plugging that,
got to plug it, because we part of this is you got to get booked. We want to get you booked. So one more time for anybody that's out there that's looking to acquire your services, even though they may run the risk of being turned into a circus freak when you show up. Have them pass on your stuff. Let them know where they can get you.
Absolutely. You can hit me up at Facebook, www.facebook.com/Roxy Rouge Wrestle, and Rouge is spelled ROUCE. On Twitter at @TheRoxyRouge, or at my email directly, contact roxyrouge@gmail.com.
Well, I think that is all of that good stuff. Can't beat that.
Right.
So we're gonna be looking forward to seeing you pop up in Atlanta one of these days.
Oh, I'll get up there eventually. I mean, I'm in Pavo all the time, so it's just a matter of a hop, skipping, and jumping away. And thank you for having me. Very nice speaking with you, and a lot of fun.
Well, I'm glad that it could be entertaining and fun and all that good stuff. This was enjoyable just because you have some extra nerdisms in you that I didn't expect to hear. You can't beat that.
Well, words, those are things. You know what they say when you assume? Make an ass out of you and me.
Yes. Well, you gotta.
You can never assume when you look at somebody.
That's right. Everybody don't get that one, So in podcast world, sometimes you got to fill in the blank. That's your second favorite cuss word for today, along with I can't remember the first, douche canoe or whatever the heck it was.
Yes.
Which is weird and entertaining all at the same time. So, for those of you that are listening here, I want to thank you for tuning in to this particular podcast and catching Roxy and myself. For quick plugs for me, if you haven't done so already, please go on to the Women's Pro Wrestling Network YouTube channel. That is where the bulk of our material will lie. Podcasts, wrestling matches, and so on and so forth. One of these days we'll get a wrestling match of hers online. We would hope. Facebook, Women's Pro Wrestling Network. Also, everything else, WPN Wrestling. That includes the website, WPNWrestling.com, WPN Wrestling on Instagram, WPN Wrestling on Twitter. So you can catch us on all of those platforms every which way you can. And of course, we appreciate you for tuning in and listening to us all in full. And be sure to catch my review of the WoW Superheroes series, Season 4. We've got a bunch of those coming out. I think I'm up to episode 7 right now. So yeah, if you're into WoW, you definitely want to catch that. So from me and Roxy, so long, everybody.
Hey, Rube.
Thank you for listening to the WPN's Rights and Wrongs of Pro Wrestling. If you have questions or comments, please contact us via our Facebook or our YouTube channel at the Women's Pro Wrestling Network. If you're new to the WPN, feel free to subscribe to our channel and like our page. We appreciate your support. Thank you again for listening.